Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do another number one. Yes, yes, yes. But this is a 4-issue miniseries, so this is going to be a short one. So I was cleaning up my comic stash, and I'm considering selling comics because I have, first of all, way too many, and I don't want to have comics that I don't not enjoying this. So I came across this one. Does that mean this is bad or good? No, no, no. That's not it. I just wanted to revisit it and then, look at it again with new eyes because I bought this new 30 years ago. Well, in the 90s. Is it 90s? Well, yeah, it's the 90s. But when, I don't know. But it's not really important. I'm gonna revisit again, and let's dive in. So Majestic or Majestus, he is coming from another planet, also from another universe. He was a ruler there, and he came to Earth. He was also a part of Wildcats, I believe, and it was before Wildstorm and DC merged together, so that these characters are now in one universe. Did work out really good. So let's dive in. So we have Majestus here, and he comes into this bar. Everybody's fleeing, and there's this woman here. Oh wow! Oh my God, she says, and he's sitting down. He says, "I will have a breakfast special." Which one? All of them, and coffee. I'm afraid I don't have a local currency. So he breaks her pencil, and it turns to diamond. Is that how it works? If you have just coal or whatever and you press it real hard, it turns to diamond. Is that how it? I don't know. Anyway, so Superman comes in, and so he sits there. You're pretty busy. Coffee is good. I thought so. So Supes and Majestus had a little bit of a chat. So Superman thanks him for the deeds that he has done, and with the patching the ozone layer and the fault lines. But he also brings up other stuff because Majestus or Majestic is basically like Superman, but different. He is more not Superman light, but Superman dark. He's more ruthless. He's a ruler. He does things that Superman does not do. And he says, Superman says to him, how many people have you got locked in stasis on Greenland? 131, all metahumans, all criminals. And without trial. It's a little bit draconian. I don't know what your Earth is like, but that's not the way we're doing things here. So again, they're having a chat. And also brings up, the difference between, Majestus and Superman. The writer explains that, Majestic is, doing his stuff. He has a way of handling stuff, and Superman basically says that people are scared because they look at him as not a protector but more as a threat. Some people say that they that he acts like a demigod, and he says people don't expect to be terrified by the protectors. They don't expect to have their problem solved whether they like it or not. We're from different worlds, Superman. Yeah, in so many ways. Over the years, I've tried to spend at least some of my time as a regular person grounding myself in ordinary life so I can handle extraordinary with a better perspective. I get the feeling you're on all the time, always detached, superior, always looking down on human race you don't really understand. And you think I need that perspective. Basically, yes. He said it couldn't hurt. I might stop you from clashing with other superheroes. And then Majestus says that he respects those, superheroes from this earth, but also there's a lot of people that are very powerful that cannot handle their powers very well. They don't have the strength or character to deserve them. That's what we disagree, says Superman. They got the human touch. Interesting. But my primary concern is returning to my own reality. I left certain things unresolved. So Superman talks about the fact that he's building some structure in orbit, and that is, according to Majestic, a particle perceptor that uses the technology so that he can eventually return to his reality. But Soup says that the nations are don't know what you are doing up there, and that people are afraid, and it puts the world a little bit on edge. And so Majestic says, well, I better be going then, hadn't I? So he goes out, and Soup accompanies them, and he says they say goodbye to each other, and then Superman, goes to the police and the Justice League, who said, okay, I had a chat, I have the situation under control. And he also gives the Green Lantern's ring back because, I don't know, somehow Majestic, snatched it from him. Yeah. Okay, so there's a little bit of talking here and there. So he goes into orbit, and he thinks about what Superman says for a while. And then he wants to, working on his projector. And but before he can, go any further with the repairs and the reassembling, he gets attacked. And it's none other than, what's his name? Eradicator. Yeah, Eradicator has, different visual styles through the years. This is one of his incarnations. And he says, he had a grudge against me since the moment I arrived. Funny, but that brutal, unreasonable streak makes me admire him much more than the other wishy-washy paragons this earth produced. Okay, I like that. Eradicator is no slouch. He's pretty strong. So they're having a little bit of a fight, but then Eradicator uses, his Kryptonian/Paris technology to create some kind of a war armor. He's pouncing on Majestos. I'm sorry. He says, I actually think you got the sufficient manual force to fracture my bones. My 5th and 6th ribs are bending past critical flexion. But then he uses, heat vision? Don't know what he does, but it's probably something different than Superman's vision. He says, microwave. Okay, so he shoots a microwave at him, but then also slices into of the primary data arteries. Information flowing in the form of photon pulses, billions per second. I interfere, block, redirect, rewrite. How does one do that? I mean, okay, it's comics, I get that, right? But is it possible that you can use your microwave vision to rewrite data? And so Eradicator thinks, hey, what are you doing? And he says, reprogramming the root functions of your synthetic biology. The pain will be momentarily. But then something happens. Eradicator's powers is building up, and in Majestic realizes his mistake. I think he's triggered an auto-destruct, and then he explodes, I guess. But before we see the fallout, somehow he's flying here on a planet. So I thought to myself, wait a minute, is this after this scene or is this before this scene? Because there is absolutely no hint of, dialogue that describes what happens earlier, or there is a continuation, or this is some kind of a flow. If it says here on top, somewhere in his universe in the past 10 years ago, and just making this up, then I would, understand a little bit better. So he is here on some kind of a planet, 9 parsecs from Earth, and there's some kind of a demonite structure. Demonites are, basically the enemy of Majestic and Wildcats, etc. Long story. So he goes in, and this is some kind of an abandoned, forgotten facility, some kind of a research station here. So he wandering around and plays with the technology. So he says, deep in the core of this place, I found the demonites had wrought something extraordinary. They have penetrated the membrane between dimensions. They have penetrated the bleed. Now, also the bleed is some kind of a dimension like a limbo or something, I guess. I do not have all the details, so I'm skipping that. So if you want to know what the bleed is in the DC universe, please Google it, but because I have zero to little knowledge about that particular part. I do know that Wildstorm Comics, if you have them, did something also in the bleed, and I'm not entirely sure anymore. So let's not dwell on that. And like a fool, Majestic says, I reopened the gate. So he's staying there for weeks, studying the data, and but then behind him, I believe this, whatever this is, maybe that's the bleed, or part of the bleed, something comes out and grabs him, and then he drags Majestic into this portal, something, and he says, I should have just destroyed it the moment. And then somewhere in Metropolis 2 weeks later, a repairman comes, and his name is Jim McGuinness, and that's, the continuation, the end of the book, leads into another book that I have by Karl Kerschl, Andy Lanning, and Dan Abnett. These creators are pretty good. The problem what I have with Majestic, I'm not feeling this character. I don't know, it's just he's an emperor, but he looks just like a superhero. He doesn't look like an emperor at all. So I wasn't a fan of his costume, his superiority complex. I know they did it on purpose, but I never felt Majestic as, leader or, someone who calls the shots. Or no, it's just Superman dark. We have already a lot of Superman characters, Superman-like characters. And although, DC just bought up Wildstorm, I believe that's the case, don't quote me on that, and they merged it together, I think he works well in a group, not as a single superhero, but we'll see. I also don't like this gloves thing. It's just weird. So is it a good comic or a bad comic? No. Just like I said in the beginning, I just don't feel this character. But maybe that will change if I read 2, 3, and 4. We'll see, guys. Thank you much for watching. Let me know if you know Majestic, if you are a fan, or that you don't like him, or do you know it at all. Leave a comment, leave a like, and share my video and all that jazz, and subscribe to my channel, yada, yada, yada. Till next time. Bye-bye.